When we think about Japanese fashion, the names that come to mind are names such as Issey Miyake, Yohji Yamamoto and Rei Kawakubo. But what about a forgotten name? What about the people who came before these three, the Japanese big three, so to speak? Today I'll be talking about Kansai Yamamoto, who I believed made Japanese fashion mainstream, so stay tuned. Born in 1944, Kansai Yamamoto was always interested in fashion. In 1971, he released his first collection at Paris Fashion Week, which was about a decade before Yohji Yamamoto or Rei Kawakubo first showed any collection. Kansai Yamamoto's aesthetic consists of bold colours and prints, which is very contrasting compared to the Japanese big three, which we know now, who mainly focus on black and don't really do too many bold designs. In my opinion, Kansai Yamamoto kind of set the foundation for Japanese fashion going mainstream. Now, like I said, when we think of Japanese fashion going mainstream, we think of the Japanese big three, which is Yohji Yamamoto, Rei Kawakubo and Issey Miyake. But first of all, Kansai Yamamoto showed collections before any of these three. And in addition to that, around the time Kansai Yamamoto was a designer, no one really knew about Japanese fashion in general in the West. Now, I think because Japanese fashion is the big thing and Japan is like one of the meccas for fashion, people kind of just think of those big three names. Kansai Yamamoto's designs were kind of one of the first times that we saw a Japanese designer's designs going mainstream in the West. Now, the person who pushed his designs the most was David Bowie, who at the time was extremely famous and was known for wearing very eccentric, bold prints and colors, which is why it fit perfectly with Kansai Yamamoto's aesthetic. Like Virgil Abloh, Kansai Yamamoto actually studied civil engineering, which just shows that you don't necessarily need an education in fashion to make it in fashion. Kansai Yamamoto, as a result, started dressing David Bowie, and people were wondering, where are these crazy designs coming from? Where are these really nice and unusual designs coming from? And that's how people started getting interested in Kansai Yamamoto. People started taking notice of Japanese fashion as a whole, and there was a big buzz about Japanese fashion, and Kansai Yamamoto had more clients. And then eventually got to the point where he was so big in the West, he started having these spectacular shows. And Kansai Yamamoto was known for having some of the best shows ever. Unfortunately, some people don't class Kansai Yamamoto's designs as Japanese, just based on the fact that he doesn't design black, and that's kind of what we know Japanese fashion to be now. So unfortunately for this reason, this led to a decrease in his sales. Unfortunately, this led Kansai Yamamoto out of business and out of relevance eventually, due to just the fact that he doesn't design in black. And when people think of Japanese fashion now, it's all about black. And he tried to stay true to himself, which I liked, but unfortunately it just led him out of business in total. But what I do like is, in recent times, a lot of brands have been paying homage to Kansai Yamamoto. I've seen kind of resurgence of his designs with the Louis Vuitton Resort 2018 collection, featuring some of his prints on the accessories. When Riccardo Tisci was at Givenchy, there were some Kansai Yamamoto designs on some of the pieces, and I've seen some collections that Gucci actually used Kansai Yamamoto prints and color schemes. So that's just the short take on Kansai Yamamoto, because I feel like he's the one forgotten Japanese designer. When everyone thinks of Japanese designers, we think of the Japanese big three. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more. Subscribe to this channel if you like anything about fashion and entertainment. And I'm out.